All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Shefali Trivedi, the Executive Director of Giving DuPage, and super excited to have you joining us to learn about all of the resources. I call it the Giving DuPage orientation because even though there are 400 plus nonprofit organizations that we partner with, I recognize the reason why we started this and we're recording is I recognize that some nonprofits, very few, but some use all of our resources, all the things we do, and then others kind of just use one or two. And so I'm here to share all of the things, and then you guys can still decide. You don't have to use all of them, but I want you to be able to make a more informed choice. So I'll start with the basics. Giving DuPage is proud to serve as the county's volunteer center. Our mission is to promote giving and volunteering. So basic bottom line is that we're a part of your support network. Our role is to connect people who want to give back to the places to do it. Okay, so anything they want to give back, and then our role is to connect. So sometimes we get the random question like, hey, I want to donate to blah, blah, blah. And then I say, okay, great. Can you tell me a little bit more about what causes you care about? And then I kind of direct or tell them about it. Or sometimes I get, hey, I want to start a charitable trust or things like that. And then I direct them to DuPage Foundation and folks like that. Sometimes I get random businesses who say, like there was somebody who emailed me last week or this past summer, it might've been last summer. Gosh, I don't know. All the time flies in the same pandemic times. I don't know when it was, but he was a smaller business and he said, hey, I want to do a charity like softball game and I want to focus on Lombard organizations. So I directed him to the Lombard nonprofit. Often we get questions about volunteerism from companies, and so we again suss out what they're looking to do and help connect them. So that's our main role. We were created for the purpose of helping people be better givers, volunteering in countywide. We do that in a variety of ways, and I also should mention that we are a public-private partner of DuPage County. So while Giving DuPage is a 501c3 organization, we fall under county government. We fall under, literally my office is at the county seat. County board members are 3 floors above me. I fall under the community services department, and within that department, community development. So Giving DuPage is one unit under community development. So community services, community development reports into that, and Giving DuPage reports into community development. And that's important to share with you. I am a show of one until just recently. We hired a full-time communications specialist. It was a position that we had as a part-time position a couple of years ago, and then things were on hold. We were able to bridge the gap and make it a full-time position with some funding extra from Giving DuPage. But my salary is paid by those of you who live in DuPage County. So thank you for paying my salary and being my boss. If you are in DuPage County through your elected officials. But I always feel like it's important to know that because that's really kind of how we came to be, is to kind of help connect people countywide to giving back. Only because we had the 20th anniversary of 9/11, it seems important for me to share that part of Giving DuPage becoming a formal nonprofit actually was born out of the horrible tragedy of 9/11. After 9/11, you can imagine there was a tremendous outpouring from the community of people who wanted to stay connected to the community and how can I help? And that kind of really helped formalize Giving DuPage in a proper nonprofit role. We were sort of a part of a community, like we were part of the county department, and there was somebody who would like connect people to volunteering, like, a lady with a Rolodex who had a, she was working part-time and she would just connect people who wanted to volunteer. But I think that event really helped to crystallize us into a formal nonprofit. So we were sort of already making steps into that, and that really solidified. So that tragedy, much like the place where we find ourselves in today with a global pandemic, in times of crisis, we all know many, many people step up and they say, how can I help? So that's that connector role that we play. So the most active way that we try to promote volunteering, and volunteering is really the core of our mission, is through our volunteerism website. But I'm going to share my screen because I want to share with you just a couple of things in terms of, just navigating our main website to begin with. So let me know when you can see the screen on your end. Are you good? Okay, good. So, and by the way, I'm going to be looking this way on my second screen. I'm not ignoring you. It's just I'm oriented over you. So this is our main website, givingdupage.org. And to kind of know about any of the things we do, you can just hover over the what we do. I'm going to talk about all of these things, and you don't have to memorize this. Again, I'm going to send you a nice follow-up email that has a gazillion links, and you can use that as your cheat sheet sort of reference guide. But I'll start with this first one called the volunteer portal. So I think some of you are familiar with this website, but some of you may not be. I'm confirming you can now see the volunteer portal screen. Is that correct? Okay.
Yep.
So this is our volunteerism website. This website is entirely dedicated to volunteering in DuPage County. It's used by over 375 local organizations, posting nearly 800 volunteer and giving opportunities. It is a way for every nonprofit to promote their volunteer needs, whatever they are, big or small. You can post them here. If they're project oriented, if they're one-time things, if you need someone to call clients for birthdays, if you need a weekly, someone to come in and send a bunch of mail every week, this is where you can post volunteer needs. And we promote this portal in many, many different ways, which I will share with you later. It's not only an opportunity for you to share volunteer needs, but as you'll see in a second, I'll show you that you can post in-kind donation needs. You can most certainly post your jobs, and you can post your events, which also includes your fundraiser. The one thing we don't let you do here is you can't ask for money. Like, you can't put a donate button and ask for money. That's not really what this site was intended for. Also, we're not vetting anyone's donation processes, so we didn't include that. Sometimes around the holidays, what we do allow people to do is say, hey, here's our Amazon wish list for the holidays. Or sometimes we allow folks to add, like, oh, we're collecting gas cards for our families in need, or, grocery gift cards. That kind of ask we do allow for in here. Also good to ask for items that you need for donation, right? So if you need office paper, to bottled water, to meals, to food, whatever it is that you are looking for donations wise, you can post them here. As a user, when you visit this site, you can literally see hundreds of volunteer needs. You can, like, let's say I'm interested in this need that was posted from West Suburban Community Pantry. I click on it, I get to learn about it. I get to see that it's hey, this little icon tells me it's physical labor. It's a social thing too, apparently, because I'm going in person. And you can apply, you can put information, whatever you want. This is, you control the content as the organization. There's a link back to your organization's profile page, and then where it happens. This happens to be, look, they're looking for 50 volunteers. You can respond as an individual or even as a team. And a user who's visiting the site can share on social. So they can share straight from the portal to their social networks. And hey, friends, like friends and family, or hey, company, we're going to volunteer, sign up and call us and kind of, right? If I go back to that main screen, I want to show you other ways that individuals can filter. They can enter in any keyword that they want, and they can also select filters by age, or hey, is this an outdoor volunteer opportunity? Is this a virtual volunteer opportunity? I'm interested in that. Something that's family friendly. Another feature that I like is that people can actually figure out a distance between, let's say they want to figure out what's in Wheaton. I want to find all the opportunities within 5 miles of Wheaton. So you can plug that in as well. This site, pre-pandemic, had generated over 2,000 volunteer connections, almost 5+ volunteers a day. We were getting close to reaching a big goal of 2,600+ volunteers, but you can imagine last year and this year, we're actually in year 2 of this pandemic, seeing less volunteer connections than in year 1 even. This site is also used by people who have a little oopsie in life and have been given court mandated hours. So we have a page dedicated to that in terms of where they can volunteer. And there are certain agencies that consistently accept court mandated volunteers. So I will show you, if you want, how you can, if you are an organization that is willing to accept court mandated volunteers, you will get a lot of volunteer support. And oftentimes people think these are not great volunteers, but actually they turn out to be really good ones, because they want to complete their hours, they want to show up on time, they want to do their work, and they want to get a good report from you. So when they go back in front of the judge, they can share. So I wanted to mention that to you, and I want you to know that you can also, as an organization, ask someone if they're court mandated, what was your offense, what did happen? And if you are at all uncomfortable, you have the right to say, you know what, we're not accepting volunteers who had this versus this, you know, or whatever it is. So I wanted you to just be aware of the fact, like, I think a lot of the pet charities, Tammy, like many pet charities, like the Humane Society always takes in court mandate, because you guys always need things like cleaning cages and walking the pets and all sorts of stuff happening all the time. So it might be not a bad thought for you. And then, you know, in terms of login, so I'm just going to pull up, like, I don't know, Vicki, do you know offhand if you can also search. By the way, I just clicked on the organizations tab, so we were on opportunities. I'm clicking on organizations, and this is an A to Z of all organizations, 375 plus you can click on. So I'm just going to click on, like, I'm going to go to, I'm going to search on the name of an organization. Oh, good, Vicki, here's your profile. So
I don't know how old it is. But
well, sure, that's okay. But you know, now you'll find out. So you post who you are, what you do. You've posted a couple of needs here, probably from a while ago, a WordPress website admin and a graphics designer volunteer. And you have current contact info, Vicki, because your info is here, which is good. So, and you can also share photos and a video on your organization's page, your links back to your social networks as well. You'll see tons of jobs posted here. So again, I know that this is a big need right now for many nonprofit agencies. If you have jobs available, you can post them here. And I would love, people underutilize this event section, but you know, anything you have, like this is a fundraiser for someone, this is someone sharing, hey, we have a Giving Tuesday thing. I'm going to look into that. I don't know why that got approved. I'm going to make sure, because if that's just a monetary thing, we're going to remove that. So Kyle's taking these over. He's new, or I probably have a little bit of training to do. But anyway, you can see they posted their benefit auction here. Neighbor Pride is sharing their health and resource fair. So they can also be events that you have. Like sometimes you'll do a volunteer orientation. You can post all of those in here. Okay. I will send you the how to make something court mandated. It's pretty straightforward and easy to use. And I'll also send you a one-pager cheat sheet on how to make edits and anything to the portal. Any questions on the volunteer portal? Oh, I will mention one last thing. We, Giving DuPage, promote the needs that are posted on this volunteer portal very actively. So we are always sharing we have a monthly digital newsletter called Community Cares that goes out to over 13,000 email subscribers. We pull a couple of volunteer needs, we pull a couple of events, a donation in-kind need. We'll pull a couple of them and say, here, see a bunch of extra ones. We try to rotate around. We don't make it, as I told you, there's almost 800 needs, so we don't post 800. We just try to pull a few variety of things. Our November and December issues, because it's giving season, will probably be a little bit more robust for those, just because of the holiday giving and people are really. And then we also share on our social networks. We have 4 social networks and 4 user groups, and we share across Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. Every week we're posting straight from this portal. So we'll pull, like my guess is, because I didn't know they needed 50 volunteers for that event or that thing at West Suburban Community Pantry. So we're definitely going to post that and get that out there. But we post like events, jobs, volunteer needs. If you ever have something where you're like, oh my God, we need 50 volunteers, like next week, we don't have enough people signed up. Can you share it? Like if you've posted it on the portal, we could absolutely share it on network. We have 4 user groups. We have a executive director network Facebook groups. That's executive network only. We have a nonprofit group in LinkedIn for DuPage nonprofits. We have a higher education group for DuPage in LinkedIn, and we have a Facebook group for only college students, and that we have in there as well. Vicki, we should talk about making something for high school students, like a Facebook user group for high school students. I think it's a little harder with high school students because there's always a concern about safety and security and high school students joining groups, so we should think about that. Anyway, that's the portal. Any questions on that so far?
I just need clarification. When you said in-kind needs, you mentioned gift cards. donations.
Mhm.
So that would be okay.
Well, only because, again, we allow it around the holiday time. And because here's what we're trying to avoid is having, like, we don't want to be the conduit for a giver to give money, like hit a donate button and financially like donate to your cause. That's the one thing we are trying to avoid. But like around the holidays, a lot of agencies who serve families in need ask for grocery gift cards and gas gift cards for their families because they're putting together gift packages for their families, right? So and we get a lot of calls from the business community, from the faith community. How can I give? Like at the holiday time, like the calls start coming, and they usually like 2 days before Thanksgiving, 2 days, or like some of them do a lot of planning in advance. So we get a lot of calls, and I always try to direct them, and then they get to see all the ways to donate. So yes, that's technically a monetary thing, but it's a monetary thing that I can feel okay about because I don't have to worry about like, hey, I'm having them go donate $30 or $50 to your donation, right?
Okay. Yeah,
And again,
I would love to talk to you one-on-one about, because we started the Food Insecurity Crisis Fund and the Essential Needs Fund. And so year round, we're giving gift cards as well as doing food pantries. So I'd just like to talk to you more separately, not to waste these ladies'
you're
time.
happy to do that, but honestly, you can just post that as an in-kind donation need right now. So you can literally post it and just say, we accept food pantry items and identify the items, and then also say, or if you feel more comfortable sending grocery gift cards, like, send them to this address or whatever, right? So, or drop them off at this address. So that's an easy thing for us to kind of have as a no-brainer. Yeah, Tammy, go ahead.
Shafali, so I just created my account here. How do I get tied to the organization and as an administrator to make some changes? Because I just noticed that, like, the contact person's name is out of date and, things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So by the way, so did you actually create the account or did you add it yourself as a new user?
I created myself as a new user.
Okay, got it. So what I'll do, that's a really good question because I don't want you to reduplicate a new account entirely, right? Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Can't tell you how many times people just go and create an account. So what I'll do now is, Tammy, I'll connect you on the back end to this account. And then next time you log in, you'll be able to make edits and stuff.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Sure. Any other questions on the portal?
Yes.
Yeah.
How many people can you have connected on the back end to the account?
As many as you want. So, and by the way, Michelle, is it Carrie Moreland? Is she still there?
Yes, she is.
So Carrie manages multiple accounts for you guys under the Park District umbrella. So you all have different accounts. Like you have one for the museum, you have one for
Play for All.
Yeah, Play for All, Cosley, and yeah, I think those are the three.
Yeah.
So I think Carrie's listed as a manager for all of them, and you can have multiple people. The one big difference is that when you then log in, like Michelle, if you're managing 2 different accounts or something, you can, when you log in, you have to just select which organization you're posting on behalf of. You'll have 2 organization accounts versus 1. So you can have Michelle, you can have 4 people. The other nice thing about this is that when you go to add needs, let's say you're having a fundraiser and you want to post the fundraiser under the events section, but you also want to make sure that somebody else in your team is getting like the notifications. And so you can actually add additional recipients to receive notifications for that specific thing.
Right.
So you can actually add more, like based on need or event, you can actually have specific additional recipients for like different things. Okay.
So does it make more sense for us to have them create an account and then be attached fully, or can we do that internally as a manager?
You can do that internally as a manager. When you're adding a need, you can add additional recipients, but honestly, it's no problem for us to have multiple organization managers for each organization. So if you want to have all 3 people, no problem. There's going to be one primary person, and that person will probably get most of the notifications. But what I'm saying is, let's say sometimes people are organizing a big volunteer activity, and then you also have a fundraiser. The people who are helping with the volunteer activity need to get the notifications for that. And so there might be a few additional people you add, and then different people are helping you with the fundraiser, and different people can get additional notifications for that. So I like that it's needs specific. You could add other people, or if you just feel like, hey, I want to give access to 3 people, and give them all the access at the same time. That's fine.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Sure. Other questions? Okay, so obviously promoting volunteerism is a big thing for us, right? In our sort of what we do. I'm going to remove this. We used to print this printed giving guide. I don't know that we're going to go back to that. We didn't print it with the daily. It was in partnership with the Daily Herald. I'm not sure we're going to do that going forward. We didn't do it last year. We need to do it this year. It's a big time commitment, and it really, for us, the portal is our giving guide. So I don't know what we're going to do. It's a question mark, but I wanted you to just be aware of that. Some of you may not know that we have a board match program where we try to, and it's probably the program of all of our programs that we don't get. I wish I had, like, honestly, a contracted position where I could just have them working only on this. It's a big need, but we still manage to pull off anywhere between 5 and 10 matches in a year. There's an application if you're the agency who's looking for board members, and then individuals who want to join a board. And then we kind of do more of a detailed match rather than just, you know, self-selecting from a portal. Okay. So there's that program. You have also heard about our big Volapalooza events. I hope you have. Did everyone get an email or a notification about it? Okay, so this is Volapalooza is such a great event. That's one of our 2 signature events that happens in the fall. And Volapalooza is our annual countywide volunteer recognition. It's a celebration of volunteers, and you get to nominate volunteers to get in a normal in-person. Over 300 people attend. We honor over 150 volunteers. Probably some of you have attended that event in the past. It's a really special event, but this year we're going to pull it off virtually on October 28th. If you have volunteers that you want to honor, it's not too late for you to do that. There's actually a volunteer nomination form, or if you just want to send a positive message to all of the volunteer honorees from this year. And this is honoring volunteers from any walks of life. So of course, you guys, by your day job, you have nonprofit organizations and you have volunteers, but you might be involved with your church group or your women's circle or something, and you might have volunteers there to honor. So any volunteers, whether they're volunteering in a house of worship, a community group, a business employee volunteer program, a nonprofit volunteer, everyone can be honored at this event. And this is going to be happening this year on October 28th at noon. So you can have a lovely lunch hour and be inspired by volunteers and giving back for the year. So that's happening. And again, the deadline to fill out a volunteer nomination is next week, Tuesday. So you have time to get it in. It's a pretty straightforward thing. In the in-person event, so we have a keynote speaker. We have every volunteer gets a little gratitude gift from us. It's just a nice touch and a way to kind of really bring visibility for your volunteer and show them some love and affection. So that's Volapalooza. Join the virtual Vola party on October 28th. Okay. Then I'll come back to giving you page days at the end. So we have 3 buckets of things that we do, right? Promote volunteering. We try to inspire our community. We also do a lot of nonprofit education and training. So along those lines, I don't know if you know, but we have a partnership with NIU's Center for Nonprofit and NGO Studies. We host a lot of classes. I think a lot of people from the CASE and the Park District Group have attended some of these classes. Coming up are our 2 most popular classes, like the grant writing classes are coming up in October. It's a 2-parter, basic and part 2 more advanced. In January, we have executive director training, parts 1 and 2. March is budgeting and understanding financial statements, and June 1st is nonprofit strategic planning. These are all being offered virtually in 2-hour blocks, which is good. And as a Giving DuPage partner, you get a slight discount of a few bucks from the actual class fee, which is $25. And you can register at any time. So this is available to you, your staff, your board members. Even some volunteers have attended some of the classes because they want to help their nonprofits. Awesome. We also have the Executive Director Network. This is for only executive directors, not staff, no boards, no granting bodies. We host a quarterly leadership series You can see the ones we had this year. Tell me something I don't know. We actually had an outdoor, we snuck in an outdoor in-person in June when we had a much more positive outlook earlier in the summer. We just got done having the 411 on DuPage Chris. And in November, we'll be hosting our Give Things social hour. I don't know if we'll do that virtually or in person. And for your executive directors in February of 22, we already have the first quarter of next year booked out. It'll be servant leadership. So those are the topics, again, only meant for executives. One of the other partnerships that we started around service was, we started this last year in the middle of a pandemic, called the DuPage Higher Education Service Council. And this is actually meant to be a student-led, so this is our partnership in collaboration with higher ed countywide. We recognize that there are 14 higher ed institutions countywide. They all have this amazing pool of student leaders and faculty and staff and actual university resources to offer. So we started this particular council, and it is meant to be a student-led service council. Last year was year one, starting in August. We just launched it, and our goal was first to get member institutions involved. And so far, we've been doing a good job. Year two, this year, last night, we had our first meeting of the school year, and year two is going to be focused on recruiting more students for this council. We've created a ton of resources for the higher ed community. The biggest thing that I would say for you is I would encourage you, and again, I'll share this link with you when I send it, but we actually had all the institutions share all the resources they offer to community organizations. And we created a digital book around it. So if you wanted to download that digital book, again, I'll just share that link with you. It's called the Higher Education Community Assets and Resources Book. You can literally see a profile of like the different things. So some organizations are offering grants, some organizations are offering internships, some organizations have service days or service learning. You want to find out how to take advantage of the higher ed resources, this is the book for you. Okay, the book contains the contact people that you need at every organization to go at. So you're not going to go doing the runaround. You'll actually be able to go find out exactly who it is that you want to contact. Okay, so that's the Higher Ed Service Council. Next up on the list in terms of training and education, we offer in the fall a nonprofit. We started in 2018 a nonprofit partners conference. Obviously, we didn't do it last year. We're not doing it this year because in 2019 we had over 250 nonprofit organizations attend. If you wanted to see what our conference lineup was, you can still visit this page, and you can actually still download their presentation. So it might be worth it just from that perspective, from the last speakers lineup that we had. We are hopeful that in 22 we can bring this back. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. It happens late in the year, so and it's a great opportunity. We had exhibitors there, great opportunity to network with your peers and meet people from other organizations. So really good event on that front. I'm going to pause there for a second. Any questions so far on the things we talked about here so far? Okay. The last two things I'll mention, we started this partnership with Wgcb Radio. They actually approached us many years ago when we had this whole countywide initiative called Do Good DuPage. So Wgcb Radio is the radio station out of COD. They're physically based out of COD, but they're really more of a jazz radio station. But on the weekends in the morning, they have a little bit more community programming. So they reached out to us a couple of years ago and they said, hey, what if we started highlighting or talking about the volunteer needs of different nonprofit organizations? So we try to, they give us the direction. Some months they say, hey, we really want to feature like a women's organization, or another month we want to feature this, or, whatever, or like almost always in December or November, they feature a food pantry because obviously it's focused on Thanksgiving. So they try to, tell us, but we have a schedule that we keep. We try to rotate around. It's a monthly interview. I think we've already had the interviews set up. So basically they reached out to us because we have the relationships with the nonprofit community. And so they wanted to find out like, what are the volunteer needs? And then they interview directly, the executive director or whomever, the board member for the nonprofit. We're just the connector. So we just try to connect people. If this is of interest for you guys, let me know. Certainly it's a nice, marketing opportunity on radio. I assume all of you would say yes, we're interested. So I'm gonna just assume that. And then the last event that I'll kind of talk about our program is Giving DuPage Days. I think many of you participated in this last year, maybe even for the past 2 years. I think you know that this is our big springtime event. We actually have the dates figured out for next year. It's going to be May 2nd to May 6th in 2022. We're going to keep with the 5-day format. We felt like that was the right mix. So far in 2 years, we're getting really close. We might have even surpassed, I think, that $500,000 mark. So we've raised over $500,000 in just 2 years, which is really, really exciting. We only expect this event to keep growing. It got a lot of momentum. 100 organizations, over 100 organizations participated. And I think you guys know, again, I don't remember, Janine, did you, I know, Tammy, did you guys participate?
We did.
You did.
Yes,
And
we
then
did.
Michelle,
Yeah,
I know
we
you
did too.
And then Vicky, you
We
did,
did.
right? It was Janine, have you guys participated in the past or no?
We did. This last year was our first year.
Okay. So, so you guys know, like, look, I can't even, DuPage Animal Friends, like, they are rock stars, like beasts in the best possible way. Like they approach this in a very strategic fashion, and they have a very, like, this is their biggest fundraiser. So for them, this is like a very dedicated strategy that they have every year. As you know, this event was actually used to be called the 5K. It was the DuPage Human Race 5K that we hosted, and then we morphed it into the Giving DuPage Days virtual event. We actually, in 2019, when it was snowing on race day, I was finally able to convince our board members, who I'd been trying to convince for years, oh my God, we host an event in the spring, it always rains, or this year snowing, can we please change this to a virtual event? And my board members for years were like, no, we kind of like the in-person, which I love too. And they showed up in their puffy jackets in 2019. They're like, okay, we get it. And I was like, oh, good. So glad it took snow to get you guys to say yes. So I give them a hard time, but really I understood why they didn't want to take away, because we had 1,800 people attending in person, which is really nice. But this virtual event, and we looked like we were like so like fortune tellers in 2020 when we wrote it out. And actually we had decided already in 2019. The thing that we did do is that in 2019 we were going to make it a one-day event. And it was really meant to be a 24-hour giving day. And we were going to have it in May. And when the pandemic hit, we moved it up a month, and we had it for a full month in 2020, if you remember. And then obviously in this year, we peeled that from 30 days to 5 days, because it made sense to do it for 30 days in the middle of the pandemic. But after this, we're keeping it to 5 days. So who knows, maybe someday we'll really get to the 24 hours. I think it'd be really cool. By the way, we modeled our events after DeKalb, which their community foundation does it, and they raise millions in one day. They raise millions in one day for their charities.
Wow.
So it's possible in a 24-hour day, but we don't do it. But anyway, you guys know that there's a lot. Because you participated, you know how active our training sessions are. The registration will open in January. You know that we offer a whole nonprofit toolkit. We offer a lot of training. We offer graphics and downloads. We also are always looking for your feedback on how we can make that even better event. But we really hope that we do enough right things that this can become a big fundraiser for you. And you just have to have, like I said, a really specific strategy and there's no limit. There's no upper limit on how much you can raise. And there's no limit on how many individual fundraisers you can have supporting your cause. So some organizations have over 50 fundraisers, like they really do it right. Just letting you know. And if you have 50 fundraisers all raising a couple $100, you could do some pretty good work here. But that's Giving DuPage Days. So we're almost at 1:45. I'm going to take a quick pause, see if you guys have any other questions. But that covers, and every once in a while, of course, we do other things, like sometimes we have other things that we get funding for, or we try to take a different approach. our biggest thing is really also like, how can we reach the public? A lot of people in the public don't know that we exist, right? In DuPage County, like if I walked into a Starbucks and said, hey, do you know what Giving DuPage is? Like 9 out of 10 people, probably 10 out of 10 people would be like, Giving DuPage? Like, do you give stuff to people? I live in DuPage. Like, and that's probably what they'd say, but they don't know who we are. So our biggest challenge is always trying to constantly get out into the universe, you know, about what we do so that we can continually keep connecting more people or offering all of you more training and programming and stuff that matters. So that's all the stuff. And I will also mention last year we were really busy with this. I don't know how much of this we'll keep doing. When I get really struck by a topic, we do it, but last year when we were all working remotely and virtually and everything came to a grinding halt, we were able to offer way more webinars on different topics that were free. And we had like over 600 people participating in those webinars. And then we also offered downloads and they're at our YouTube. So people have been downloading them since too. So good topics. Like I said, every once in a while, it depends on, you know, like right now we're kind of busy with Volapalooza, but I suspect there's one program that we are going to try to pull off this year in partnership with the health department. Because a lot of nonprofits have been reaching out to us, particularly the nonprofit leaders about, you know, should we be having events in person? Shouldn't we? You know, and I think the health department can share the latest health data and their guidelines, and then let our nonprofit community decide. So that's the best we can do. I will tell you, I don't know if you guys know this, but my insurance policy, so I would check with your insurance carrier. My insurance company did say, you know, we have our annual renewal coming in January, and our general liability is now going to include a communicable disease exclusion. Essentially what they're saying is, we will not cover any COVID-19 risk that you have that will not be covered in your general liability. So anyone who is attending or participating in Giving DuPage programs under our care and custody, whether it's an in-person board meeting or an in-person executive director network, they have told us that they're going to have an exclusion policy for communicable diseases, where so they're basically taking themselves out of having to pay out on it in any way, shape, or form. So I just wanted you all to, I want to let you know that and share that with you because I found that out having had a conversation with our insurance carrier, and then I got this promptly in the mail after that. So keep an eye out for it. Any questions about, first of all, was some of the information new for all of you? Like what, you know, were there things that you didn't know that we did that you can take advantage of now? Cool. I'm here to answer any other questions you have about anything. Like I said, I would love for folks to take more advantage of like our LinkedIn nonprofit group. That's a great place. A lot of times, like, you know, a lot of the agencies are, oh, and I'm also going to pull up 2 other websites while I'm at it. A lot of agencies are always asking us, like, can you share this and can you share this? I'm like, can you please post it to the LinkedIn group, or can you please post it to the executive director group? I want to share 2 resources with you if you're not familiar with these websites. First of all, do you know about Impact DuPage? Are you familiar? Okay. Really important. So these are 2 websites that have nothing to do with Giving DuPage, but I always encourage everyone to bookmark these. They are featured always in the bottom of our nonprofit newsroom every single month. And this is what Impact DuPage is: group of community leaders, organizations, and community members working together to understand the needs and priorities of the people who work and live in DuPage County. Basically, they do this Impact DuPage is affiliated with the health department, and they basically do a community assessment that basically says, okay, how are we doing as a community? What's the wellness of our community? What are the priority issues that impact our community? And how can we give ourselves a report card? So they give us a grade on all these issues. You can literally find, oh my God, till your brain hurts, volumes of data. Till your brain hurts, so many tools. You can read about local efforts. I mean, the amount of information that's on this website is mind-boggling. I will also say that many nonprofit organizations use this website in their grant writing, because you have access to countywide data like demographics, or just how big is the issue of homelessness and housing, or hospitalization data. So a lot of people use this website to pull as a data resource into their grant application. Okay,
Smart.
very smart. So I always say there are 3 websites that people ought to know about in DuPage County. Hey, I want to know what's happening in DuPage County. Like, how's our county doing? That's when you go to Impact DuPage. Like, what are the issues, the biggest issues affecting our county? Go to Impact. But what if you're somebody who actually needs help? Hey, I need some help, or I know someone who needs some help. That's when you go to this website, DuPage CRIS. DuPage CRIS stands for Community Resource Information System. Anybody who needs help in DuPage County, they can get help by going to this website. This website has thousands of agencies listed, agency providers. If you're someone who's doing housing, or if you need mental health resources, or if you need transportation support, you click on that, and then you ask it further things. Hey, I need car donations or a car repair, or I'm disabled, or I'm a senior, or I need local transit or transportation expense assistance. So you literally say, okay, I want car donations and car repairs. And then you get to learn about all the different organizations that offer things in that regard. Really important for you to be aware of that. A lot of the organizations that we interact with have an account at our volunteer portal, but they also have an account here at DuPage CRIS. So, hey, I want to learn about what are the issues affecting DuPage County? You go to Impact DuPage. Hey, I need help, or I know someone who needs help. Go to DuPage CRIS. Okay, bookmark these 2, and then, hey, I want to help. Giving DuPage Chapter.
It's interesting, Shivali, that they don't have a pet section on here.
That's a good question. You know what? I will put you in touch with the person who oversees this, and I will let you share that with them, because you're right. Some people need assistance for their pets, and so I don't know. And actually, I wouldn't assume that they don't. The main categories might just be the main categories.
Yeah.
And if you search by keyword pets, you might.
Yeah.
So I would try that.
Yeah.
And there might be a bunch of things about.
Yeah, they do have some on here.
Yeah.
We're on here too. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. See, there you go. All set. I don't, that's one
Problem
less thing for me
solved.
to do. Problem solved. Anyway, all right. So we have a few more minutes left. It's almost 10 to 1. Any other questions that I can answer for you? Just in general, giving you page related, I'm around. I can keep the recording on or turn it off for other questions. It's up to you. Shall I turn it off? That help? Does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
Very good. All right, questions, comments, feedback?
I just want to say, Shefali, that you guys really did a fantastic job on the Giving DuPage Days and responding to all the questions. And it was, I had a volunteer that came to each of the sessions, and every time she came away knowing better what we needed to do and more enthused about what we were doing. So, so you really, really did a bang up job.
Thank you. That's really great feedback. I appreciate it. I'm going to share that with my board so that they know that. They know that, but it's always good for me to share that as a testimony.
It's always important to share the good news. When
Of
we're
course,
the
right?
directors.
We have to constantly feed our board with the mission moments. And so for us, that's a mission moment, right? I can tell you, Vicki, I just want the rest of you to hear what she said. This is a brilliant strategy because Vicki is a part-time executive director and does not have a big team. She enlisted a volunteer to basically be the main person on behalf of the organization to participate in and organize their efforts on behalf of her nonprofit. There is nothing that stops all of you from enlisting 2 volunteers to be the leaders of your Giving DuPage Days effort. In fact, I highly encourage you to do this because it's very inspiring for your board members to see a volunteer spearheading an effort, and it kind of takes the knees right out from under them. There's no reason why they shouldn't be more involved. So, and I think it's really great because your volunteer is going to really make this is the only thing they're going to be doing. Like, they're going to be focused on this for 3 months, and it's a sustained effort, but it's excellent that you did that. So I think more organizations ought to do that, is incorporate like a little volunteer corps or a couple of volunteer leaders to basically be the main people to get all the information, to constantly kind of stay on top of the stuff, and then disseminate that information throughout your organization, right? To your board members, to your staff, to your constituents, to your donors. Like that person can really be the driver. Not everyone has a staff member who can do that, right? Like in Vicky's case, she needed this volunteer, made the difference, right? I don't remember how much you raised. And obviously you guys know, right? The nice thing is because you already participated, I think we're going to be able to do this again next year. I don't know. I will tell you that the platform we use, GiveGab, that we pay an annual subscription or licensing fee for to use their platform. GiveGab recently merged with another organization, another platform. So I don't even know yet. There's a webinar coming up on all the changes and what that means. So don't be mad at me if you have to redo a new profile for your page. I won't be driving that rule, but I don't know. I don't even know what they're going to do or what things will change or if it'll look the same or different. Hopefully it'll come with a lot more bells and whistles and features. So TBD.
Well, we trust that you will keep us posted as to what we need
Yes,
to know.
you will know about it for sure.
Thanks for being the front man, Shefali.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Happy to do it. It makes me very excited. It's a very, for my board members, like some of them are hitting refresh like every hour on the hour in that last day. They're like, oh my God, did you see, just went up to this? I'm like, yes, I know. I get it. I'm glad you're joining the party. No, but I love it because it does make you feel really good that people are giving. It's such a visible, tangible way to see how people are giving back. And I don't hear the same stories on the portal side. I don't know. Sometimes I meet you guys and you're telling me, oh, I got this great volunteer from the portal. And I'm like, well, great. I'm glad you're telling me now. Like, I'm so glad to hear about it. So this was different because we get to actually see the support happening in real time. So it's kind of cool. Anyway. All right. Well, thank you. I'm sticking around for another 5 minutes, but if you have any questions, you can do that. I'm going to stop the recording just to sort of